So hands are really, really fun because it allows me to bring up one of my favorite illustrating teachers. And if you don't know who this is, Andrew Loomis, then you really need to. Andrew Loomis is a real interesting guy. Here, I'll just put it down here. Andrew Loomis. He was an American illustrator. He was born in 1892. He died in 1959. So he was working at a time when there was this huge push in publishing, right? Because printing presses had been invented, the Industrial Revolution and the sort of push for people, particularly in America, right, in the New World, required a lot more illustrating and advertising. And his style of painting really dominated the art world. But what he's really famous for, and he invented he drew the Cracker Jack boy, the boy on the little Cracker Jack box. And if you look, but he more influenced a whole group of artists. He studied at the Art Students League of New York. He eventually taught there. He also studied at the Chicago Art Institute. He has this sort of very classic way and a kind of a dry wit that's quite fun. But he's really famous for publishing these books on how to draw things. And sometimes I found his descriptions helpful, but his hand, for example, if you want help with hands, he's just got great information. So I sent a picture of this. This is from Andrew Loomis's book, one of his books. Oh, that's better. And one of the things you can see about the hand is that it's really a series of kind of cubes or rectangular cubes on top of each other. So one of the reasons it's so hard to draw fingers and hands is what's going on here? Wait a minute. Can you guys hear me? Yes. You can hear me, but I think hang on,
yeah, your video froze.
My video froze. That's what's going on. Oh, I think the computer just turned right off. Well, you'll look at my frozen. If you can see here where my frozen finger is, well, I turn on this.
It's not in your hand.
Yeah, you're looking at my hand, pointing at this other hand. Okay, there we go. If you can see here, hang on, it'll take me a minute to log back in. But you can see that the hand has all these different plane changes. You can almost always see the side of at least one side of the fingers, right? As well as the top of the fingers. There is the plane change happening around the knuckle. So I really particularly love this sketch because I think it really shows kind of how things shift in the hand. Here, I'm going to send this over until I can get back in. This is the one I really like, this one. If you look really close at it, you'll see the fingers are kind of blocked off to cubes, sort of longish cubes or rectangles. Hang on, I'm joining again. Did I not have that? Why did I not gonna? Let's see. Come on, you. Let's try that again. You can see I like the sort of where the break between the knuckles and the kind of muscles of the hand, right? You can see those things. So the thing about hands and why they're hard is that there's a lot of muscular bone activity going on there. All right, here we go. Come on. Let's try this again. Here we are. Okay. Now you get to see me twice. Let's turn this around. Here we All right, here we are back. So when you're structuring the hand, you're having to be aware of a lot more shifts, right? Here, hold on now, let me spotlight this so you guys can see it. There we go. So you have to be aware of a lot more shifts, right? There's the shift from here to here. There's this shift. There's that knuckle, that circular shift. There's the front of the hand. There's the side, right? There's the base. There's a shift from here to here and here to here, right? And there's a little space in between. Notice that the fingers, so we almost, the big thing to think about hands is to think about, we can see the sides as well as the tops of most of them, right? And it's also very relational. So this is a construction of the hand, and I would highly recommend, if you have any time, we're not gonna work with it tonight, but I wanted you to see it, to see how he shows construction. Look at how, right, where the halfway points are for his fingers. Look at how he does it for the thumb. Look at kind of the shapes we see in here when we're looking at the hand from this perspective. So hands are like really complicated cubes or series of cubes. So we're going to construct a hand tonight, starting with basic shapes. I'm going to move this over here. We're going to actually start with this shape here. So if you can see, we're literally going to start with, it's kind of a, it's not exactly a square, and it's not exactly even, right? This dips down a little bit. This kind of goes straight down. This kind of curves up. This pushes this way, and this kind of dips down a little bit. I don't really know what you would call this shape, but it's sort of a modified square-ish, right? And I want to make sure that this isn't as wide as the length of it, right? So I want to make sure this kind of comes up to about here on my vertical. In here, I'm like, oh, interesting. So this is exactly the same as the distance. So the top curved line is the same size as this straight up and down. So as I'm starting to construct that, and then very simply, so what does this look like? Can anybody tell me what this looks like? What does this look like, what we're doing here? We've been doing it for the last like 6 months. What does it look like? What is this? Words? No one? This is gesture. This is the gesture lines of the hand. That's really what we're drawing here. So I'm going to sketch it out here. Notice that these lines are all in relation to each other. Notice where they are on this line. None of them are at the end. Notice how they are in relation to each other. I'm even going to check a couple things, like, let's see. Yep, so this is the same height as this. Yep. So as you start the sketch here, I'll send it over so you guys can really see it. And I'd like to see this too. Anyway, Richard Loomis is your friend for a lot of this stuff. He can really help you kind of, just by copying him. sometimes you don't even have to read his words. I mean, he's kind of a funny guy. He's very entertaining. But in reality, you really just need to copy what he's doing. Notice that my thumb doesn't come above here. Notice the space that's in between here. I'm looking here. Yeah. I need to bring this down just a little bit. Just a little bit bigger, but not too much bigger. So go ahead and start. Yeah. With this and send it over to me when you've got it. And notice I'm not even letting you look at the next step because I want to make sure you've got this kind of in place. Notice I'm fitting out my, I'm adjusting my shape all the time. And notice that this distance and this distance are equal. Notice that this is shorter than this. Let's see. Okay, so Tosh, you're not really getting the, I'll show you in a second. So number one, I want you to, your hand is too upright. This hand is leaning a little bit. Right? It's leaning a little bit. It's hard to get my hand to do. There we go. So look at that lean a little bit. And also I don't think this is tall enough. So, well, let me double check something. So A, this part is too thick. This is the weight, this is the wrist. It should be kind of curved up a little bit and it should be narrower. It shouldn't be as wide as this. This line is the same width as this line, but this line is narrower and this line kind of comes in a little bit. And then the fingers also kind of, I can even fix it myself, they kind of slant a little bit. If it makes you feel better, I'm fixing it too as we're going along. But pay attention to all the shapes. Don't get sloppy. This is not the time for sloppiness. We're with hands now. This is serious business. These are hands, people. Trying to get this out of my way.
Okay, then I'm gonna sit up.
Yeah, you better sit up because you're not seeing it correctly.
So Tash, where do you live?
I live in Brooklyn, New York. Yeah.
My husband is from Brooklyn.
Oh, cool. What part of Brooklyn?
Oh, you tell me, Brooklyn Heights, maybe?
Oh, cool.
Yeah.
Very nice area.
It's a great area. Too bad. It's really
I know we went to Sheepheads Bay High School.
It's like the nicest area, I think, like in all of New York.
Yeah.
Did any of you
probably wasn't when he grew up there?
Oh, I know. Did you ever watch Will and Grace? I never
really, not really.
So I never watched it like when it was on, but I watched the first episode when the new season came out. And
Yeah.
it turns out the whole reason why Grace moves in with Will is because Will was like, no, I don't want to live with you. You're my best friend. And then she was like, fine. And she got a place in Brooklyn Heights. And he shows up and he's like, you're living in Brooklyn Heights? What? And it's like this beautiful apartment. And then that's why she moved to Manhattan.
Frank?
Hilarious.
Frank? Is it Brooklyn Heights you're from? Is it Brooklyn Heights you're from?
So Paul and Lana.
Oh, that's rich people. Where are you from? Okay. Yeah. Sheepshead Bay. Bensonhurst.
Okay, Paul, I'm going to tell you to pay more attention, hun. This is sloppy. This is super sloppy. Step one. This side kind of leans a little bit. You've created a blocky piece of toast. It's all the sides are the same. That is not what's happening here. Pay attention. This is a straight line. This is slightly curved down, and this line is kind of slightly at a diagonal. That makes this edge a little curved up and a little bit smaller than what's happening here. These two are the same. So I'm not going any further until Lana, I expect to see this from you too. I don't want to not, I'm going to make sure you guys are, this is why people have problems with drawing, y'all. If you can't get this, you're not going to be able to get the hands. If you cannot get this shape right, there's no point in even going any further. This is hard stuff. So I want you to take it seriously. And I'm going to wait until every one of you, except for Diana, who's working on something different. Every one of you sends me at least 1 or 2 versions of this. Let's see. No, Paul.
But I do Hans from time to time because I think that's such a good drawing exercise.
It is a good drawing exercise.
Yeah.
Paul, I want you to look at the shape, okay? You've done this. That's not what's happening here. Look at the shape. Look. And look at the fingers. So by the way, this finger is as tall as this length here. The thumb, this is 2 lines. One goes out like this, the other kind of comes straight up and it lines up with here. Pay attention to where these things go. All right. I mean, I don't mean to be a taskmaster, but this is where we separate. You know, you guys asked for this, right? This is where we separate, like, the amateurs from the professional, the people who are taking this seriously, is to pay attention to shapes at this stage, because if you don't get these, you won't get the final shape. Better? Better, Paul, much better. Now, what else are you missing? You're missing the top of the thumb here. You just have a line out here. You do not have that top line. One, 2.
So is Lisa coming tomorrow?
To Portland? Yes, I think.
Yeah.
Although I don't see her till Monday.
Okay.
I mean, just to see you, or she's on something different?
She's got buddies who live here.
Oh, okay.
I think this is her first travel.
Wow.
Is she staying in your place?
No, I wish she was. We're booked up fully. And I wouldn't put her in like what we have left that's available. It's like a ladder. You have to climb up to a loft, and it's insane. No, she's having a girls' weekend with friends. So this is just the end. There you go, Lana. All right, Lana, not bad. Let's see, 1, 2. So Lana, this finger needs to be as tall and then slightly bent at the end as this height. And also, Lana, this needs to be cut in more. You've got this thing happening. This needs to be cut in more because this is thinner. Not bad. All right, I'm ready to go on. You guys take as long as you want to get to that place. So here is step 2. Here, hold on. Here is step 2. So you can see yep, that's what they did. So you can see some of these major shapes, these darks. See how I'm getting like the whole side of the hand here? Did I get that shape right? I don't even know if I got that shape. It kind of bends inward like that. So that's happening down here. And this is happening up here. To see, it's easier to get the outside shape first. I'm adjusting that a little bit. Then I'm adding in look at all of those plane changes. You can see that this also needs to switch. Ah, that's what I was missing. So that, what really needs to happen is this and this. So I kind of went from, we kind of went from this straight line, which is here, to kind of a more bent shape here. Just keep, oh, and this is way too big. I can already see it. So see how the shape is shifting? Look at how slanted this line. Look at how sort of tilted that line.
Like you're building like a mechanical arm or something.
Yep, that's a good way to think about it. Right. It's key here to remember. I'm going to scoop this over just a little bit. Right? It's key to remember to look at the relationship. Here, I'm going to send a picture of this so you guys can really see it up close. Here is step 2. It's step 2. It's like step 1 is like kind of simple. Step 2 is like a huge bunch of steps, right? And step 3 is like even more ridiculous, but it works. If you follow it, it works. Here we go. So notice there's no space really between these two. There's a space up here, but at the bottom here, there's no space. And this is kind of more, this is like an angle line, like that. know I'm kind of whipping through this really fast, but don't be too, you know me. I go fast and then I come back so I can help you guys. So, and then the third finger is like a kind of more clear sort of boxy rectangle. But it touches here where this dark edge is. So every finger kind of runs into every other finger. And then I can push this. Every time there's a dark area, that means the finger has turned around. Just when you thought it couldn't get any harder. The job for the electric racer. Let's see. For those of you who don't have one, boy, are you gonna want one. Try not to be too jealous. That makes it kind of a funny, boxy.
Finger eraser?
It's an electric eraser.
Wow.
Amazing. It's a game changer. I am not a doodad person. You'll notice I try to go with as few materials. I am not into the materials thing. Maybe because I'm a little bit lazy. Maybe because like when I teach, I don't like to complicate things. I want people to feel like what they've got is enough. But this thing is awesome. It's awesome. Right, you can even see a little bit down here in the wrist, not too much. So you see you're building these like blocky shapes. Here, I'll send you mine. Josh, that looks good. I'm assuming you're well on your way to your next thing. But like also take your time with this. And by the way, you guys, I did hear that Rollo's father died over the weekend. So when you see him, just know when he comes back, he's still in England. But when you see him, just know he's had a loss.
Sorry, I had to take out the little rat girl.
You hear that, Diana?
Oh, I didn't hear what.
Rollo's dad died over the weekend in London.
Oh, no.
Yeah. So he's there now. He'll be back to class soon, hopefully.
Oh, that's hard to deal with.
It's really hard to deal with. I'm glad he was there so we could see his dad.
You saw him before he passed?
Oh, yeah. Yeah.
Okay.
He's been there for a couple weeks. So the moment he went down. Okay, let's see, Lana. So Lana, what I like is how your fingers on the top, you've got them all connected to each other, right? There's no real spaces. This part needs to come up higher. You'll see it's about halfway up the edge of the hand. You have yours down lower. So look at this shape. Look at this shape in here. Like here, I'll sketch it. Let me do this. hold on, I need a, here we are. All right, so look at this shape here. Right, look at that shape. Right here at the base of this finger as you're trying to shape the thumb. And then the other thing, Lana, is this is much more curved down. You have yours kind of square. You keep wanting to square off this, and it's really, it's way more curved. Comes down a little bit lower. Remember, the knuckles have to kind of live here, so there's got to be enough space. So this is like the flat muscles of the hand. You get these tendons here, you can kind of see them. And then right here, I'm totally gonna do this. Right? So here is where these kind of muscles and tendons stretch over the bone, right? But then here, there's a plane change because we've got knuckles. And then there's another plane change to the fingers. Like that. So there needs to be enough space here to accommodate these. But I do like how your fingers are related to each other. Notice also that the finger, oh, I see. Partly you can't see my drawing. Notice also that the fingers get a little fatter as they come down. They don't tape, they taper more at the end. They become sort of wider and thicker here. Let's see. Not bad, Paul. Not bad at all. Actually, good, really good. So yeah, notice that there's a dark shape here. So there is a place, it's like looking at a building going back, right? Notice that on these, that's where these fingers really, I mean, they meet at the base here, but then because the finger is pushed forward, there's a little dark, the little dark side that's here. It's like looking at a block going backwards in space. Here. So what is really awesome about this exercise is how related everything is to everything else. You can't really draw, you know, to have success, you can't really draw anything until you have its relationship to each other, right? Otherwise it just looks weird. So everything's touching, everything's interlapping, and things are turning because there's a plane change. So light is, you know, hitting it in new ways. So obviously, better, Lana, better. This Lana also slants. It means we have to change the shape a little bit here. If you see, here, let's see. It's like, it kind of goes like this and then in like that. So this is a little more straight up and down. This is not, well, it is more straight. This becomes more of a diagonal. There you go. Better. It's good, Lana. It's coming along. So here, you just can't afford to mess up, right? If you mess it up, you lose everything. Now, of course, the hand isn't so, we don't always have to get into so much detail with the hand, but you might just do like this much, right? This side with the hand. Just depends on how the hands are looking at you, how the hands are looking at you. Hands don't look at you, but you know what I mean. now I'm kind of tweaking. I'm seeing that my negative space between my fingers is a little bit narrow. So I'm widening it up a little bit. Not a ton. This is a type of exercise where looking at the negative space is as helpful as looking at the actual thing you're drawing. Looking at this shape, right? And what's happening here is as important as anything else that's going on. So interesting.
Are we waiting for something or?
I'm waiting for you guys to finish.
Oh, okay. I think I'm finished.
Send it over. I have not seen a finished thing, so. Let's see. Yeah. So this finger is up too high. This finger is up too high. And this finger is too low. This finger is also a little too thick and should go to the side. Trust me, y'all aren't done yet. Oh, you know what the problem is? This finger is the right size, Paul. This finger needs to come higher. This finger is as tall as this part here, from here to here. So you need to extend your finger up higher. Funny, when we work on something, it's easy to make things too big or too small. Yeah, no, I'm waiting to see everybody's getting this right before we go to the next stage. Okay. Let's see. So Paul, there's a dark triangle here. Are you missing that? Little bit thicker.
Yeah.
There you have it. That's one of the reasons this looks so thick. Also, it's dark here on this side.
All right.
But you're getting, you know, Paul, I really want to credit you because your eye is getting better. You're getting better at being able to see the shapes of things. I feel like it's not necessarily your instant like go-to, but you are really improving. You've been working really hard. You should be very proud of yourself. And everyone here has. And Tosh, I'm waiting to see yours. Alana, I'm waiting to see yours corrected. Then we'll go on. Is this helpful, Tosh? Is this what you were hoping for?
Oh, absolutely. I wouldn't have known this at all.
Any of this, right? So Andrew Loomis, look up his, all you really have to do is just, if you want to just look, there's so many like recordings of his Better Paul. This is still too thick, hon.
Well, I made it like that on purpose because otherwise it would just be a gap on the hand.
Okay, I think you need to cut this in on this side.
Okay.
What's happened is this has gotten a little too wide. Yeah. There you go. Yeah, anyway, Andrew Loomis is fantastic. He's got lots and lots of construction sketches. You know me and construction. I fucking love construction. And if you want to put something together like a puzzle piece or a car engine, that is Andrew Loomis to a T. And his stuff is everywhere. So you don't even really have to buy the books. You can just look them up online. Although it's nice to have the books, but you seriously can just, like, I just looked up, Andrew Loomis hands, and came up with 20 different things. Let's see. So Lana, these two fingers, they connect to the finger next to them with a side that's kind of, this one goes down like this. It's like a building going down in the background. This one goes down like that. And make sure you get all your shading in. Otherwise, that looks pretty good. I feel like, although, Lana, the only thing is bring this down a little bit. Yours is up here. So it's a little bit taller than it should be. Yeah, there we go. But good job. Okay, let's see. Tosh. Good. Bring this down a little bit. Bring this down a little bit. This one that I'm pointing at.
Okay.
And otherwise, and get your shadows on this side. Sorry, it's a little bit hard to see because I drew a line. There's a shadow on this side too of the thumb. And also, no, everything else looks pretty good. So when you're building and constructing a figure, starting with a sketch that's simplified like this is really helpful when you're working with the hand and understanding like where things turn around. Yep. Okay. I'm going to go on. I'm going to bring you to the next phase. So now we start to soften right? Those we start to soften. Oops, I dropped my, where are you, pencil? Here you are. So here's where, interesting. This guy really goes down further. And everything, sorry. I'm gonna take a picture of this. This comes down a little bit lower. Still darker. This becomes softer and rounder, right? So once you've got these in place, you kind of soften the edges, everything. Notice that the positioning changes a little bit. Look at this extra shading happening. Get rid of these lines now. Now that I've got them, everything is a lot softer. I can add in a fingernail here, for example. Notice how he's using these little lines. Notice how this comes down a little bit. Notice how these tiny little lines also help define and create direction. Notice that the fingernail is partly shaded. Notice how things start to come down and cross over onto these nice blocky shapes that we had. Notice the shape of the nail on this particular finger is kind of going the opposite direction than you think it should. Kind of going this direction. There's kind of a round line here where the knuckle is. And it's a little darker above and a little darker on the side below. As I kind of remove these more blocky layers, that's where I start to get into the details of the hand. So you see now these are going away and everything's kind of softening. This is like the rest of the class. I'm going to send this over to you so you guys can see a picture of the.
Yeah, the way you were describing that is like Shavasana and the end of yoga.
Really?
This is so relaxing, like notice.
It is a little bit cool. I've always thought there was a formula, you know, a similarity between yoga and these classes, definitely. And in this particular case, there's a lot going on, right? So, and I'm constantly kind of shifting. See, I'm getting rid of my cross lines down here. See how the thumb is kind of, look at this shape up here. This is a really interesting one. Yeah, it's totally relaxed. I mean, it's not super easy, but it is doable, isn't it, you guys? If you just kind of pay attention, you can see a tiny little bit of the nail here, not too much. I think what happens is everybody tries with the hands as much as anything else. We try to create patterns where there aren't any. We can only see the full nail here. We can see a tiny bit of the nail here, but it's going in a completely different direction. This we can only see like a half. But our brain wants us to draw these the same. They are not the same. So that's the challenge. As we start to get rid of these lines. There's some really beautiful shading. This feels a little bit too thick. So you see how I'm sticking with the same general areas, but I'm doing a lot of reshaping. I want you to also to try and kind of conceptualize the vast amount of foreshortening that's happening here. Parts of the finger are coming towards you, parts are going away from you, right? It's kind of crazy. Oh, I see. This line has to come up like this. Ah, that was my problem. Better.
I'm just noticing that the fingers attach together and it goes down the hand.
That's what I told you. Right. That's right. And I'm glad you see that because you need to see that, right? Because there's a whole set of tendons here, which you can see pretty clearly in this sketch. Over here and then here. If you finish this hand before class is over, we've got another 50 minutes or so, you can try this one, right? This one and then here. You can see these are the same, but oops, sorry. These two are the same, but this is the beginning and this is how you kind of pull it together. So there's more to try.
Leia, my thumb is too low.
You need to bring it up.
Yeah.
Use your negative space to help you determine where it goes in relation to the palm.
feel like my fox looked better when I started.
That's very often what's happening. Yeah, Paul, just keep on working. That's good. It's on the way. Let's see. Send it over, Diana. Let's see it.
It's kind of more sketching now than it was before.
Good. Show these guys how to do that.
I'll get there, I guess. It's more color black blocking.
Come on in. You want to meet my students?
Yeah.
Here, shut the door. Hey, you guys, you want to meet? Actually, stand right there. You guys want to see, turn the light on, shut the door. And then, here, you'll meet my friend Omar. I'm going to remove the spotlight. Take a little break for a second. If you want to talk to somebody about painting hands, flip that sucker around. Here. I'm going to spotlight for me, and then hang on. I'm going to turn this video around so you guys can see what I'm, sorry. I know I'm mucking with you. Sorry. No, I'm mucking with you. Camera rear. Look at that. There's Omar.
Wow.
Look at those. This man can
Wow.
This man can paint, and this is one of his small paintings. Actually, Omar, we are working on hands today. So this is a perfect, if you want to see how he's kind of, here, I'll take a picture of it and send it across.
Oh, so beautiful.
Isn't that great?
I love the flowers creating her dress. It's so beautiful.
Isn't it beautiful?
Yeah.
God, wait till you see the new ones. Do you want all those photographed? Is that the idea?
Yeah, just this one is, you know, the frame gentleman?
Yeah.
He wants that one framed for, it's a family heirloom.
Got it.
So he wants to share it with his sisters and brothers and all of that, because that's the last of the only portrait they have. And it was painted in the Philippines.
Oh.
So they want to keep it in the family.
Got it. All right, I'm going to let you guys work for a second. I need to talk to
So Tashween, how many classes a week do you take?
I try to go to all of them, but I have weeks when I can't. So I guess
Not quite a few classes, but I find you're in every one of them.
yeah, I think it's 6.
Wow. You're gonna graduate from art school after this.
I'm doing this earnestly, yes.
Are you serious, honey? You don't need to go out again, do you? Are you serious? I might have to take my dog out.
Oh no.
All right, how's it going, everybody? Sorry.
Oh, that was fun.
Isn't that neat?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Isn't that neat? So Lana, I'm not sure what all this is. It's not really reading correctly for me. Look more at what's happening right here. You've kind of lost your wrist. Look at what's happening at the wrist right here. And try and recreate, look at these lines, right? These are kind of key. It's dark here, and then you'll notice this, there's all these subtle shifts that make a big difference, as opposed to this thing, which is kind of, there's no lines really going down like this. It doesn't really look as accurate. There's more stuff happening up in here.
There's so many angles on the hand that it's hard to get.
That is the thing. That is the idea. So we start with simple, and then we go to more complex once we get that simple. Once we get that simple in. Yeah, isn't that neat? Isn't his work incredible? Oh my God. We're getting we have a bunch of it hanging in a gallery that I run with a friend, and we're getting some stuff photographed for prints. He was bringing over that girl. And that's a simple one of Omar's. He's just really talented, like super, super good. I love it. Yeah, sorry, you guys are going to notice as like we move into September and October, things get like really insane for me. I have a lot of shows happening, which is great, but it just means sometimes people might be dropping stuff off, or anyway, there's a lot of that stuff going on. But I know you all can roll with it.
We're cool.
You're cool.
Cool with it, yeah.
Yep, indeed. So see, you notice why it was so important to have this slant, right? Because the hand is kind of at an angle.
So Leah, is Omar educated in America or elsewhere?
Yeah, educated in America, really, and mostly self-taught.
Wow.
Yeah, he's really talented. And he started as a graffiti artist. So his
Los Angeles.
you know, he was in LA for a while. He's been up here in Portland about 10 years. But yeah, he was in LA for a while. He's from I want to say Ecuador or Costa Rica, El Salvador. He's from somewhere in Central America. And he came here when he was 7 to California. And then he started off as a graffiti artist, but he's just really gifted. You know, I mean, he's a really gifted painter. And he's painting these detailed, here, I'll send you, I took a detailed shot. So I'll take a couple of pictures for you and send them over. But yeah, as far as I know, he's mostly self-taught. He just, you know, some people really have it. Like, he just is one of those guys. He's very disciplined. He's super, here.
Good for him.
Yeah, he's really, really good.
And he has his own style, which is cool.
And he has his own style, right? Exactly.
But even if it feels like a little bit Rivera, a little bit Rivera.
Yeah, a little Rivera, but still, this is his older piece. Wait till we get photos of his new work. I'm going to send you guys his hands just so you can see this close-up of the hands. And you'll see some of the things that are at play. In fact, you'll see, and this is an old piece of his. So he has since improved a lot, I would say. Like, this is a piece he did 10 years ago. I would say he's even better now. Ooh. You can see the hands. You can see how the hands are being painted. You can see exactly what you're learning how to do here. You can see how the shadows and the lights are playing, right? Look at the fabric alone.
Oh, wow. Yeah.
I mean, look at that lace. Yeah, this is one of his less detailed paintings. But he also does this crazy like graffiti stuff, and the graffiti is very integral in his process. Even though this is fine artwork, which goes on canvases, you know, hopefully sells for many thousands of dollars.
So why did he end up in Portland?
I don't remember.
Like it's any of my business. Like,
I think LA was just like, you know, you know, he and I arrived at Portland around the same time. I came from New York. He came from, just keep working, Lana, or don't send them, and just keep looking at little shapes one at a time.
Housing prices were so expensive that, I mean, in LA, I mean, even if you live in, you know, if you live in a neighborhood, even any neighborhood, even like East Los Angeles, South Central, I mean, prices have gone ridiculously through the roof.
Yeah, it's just expensive. So he and I arrived. Lana, I'm sending you some areas to focus on. Really look at the shapes. Don't be ashamed. You're getting closer. It's just in that awkward phase. Yeah, so I came from New York. He came from LA. And I think, and we met soon after we got here. Both of us kind of met like soon after we arrived. And we were both just like, yeah, it's really hard to be an artist. And he's also, he's a dental salesperson. That's what he kind of does for his day job. So yeah, I mean, I think he just probably found work here. It was cheaper, and you know, it's a great place to make art. So
and he needs a day job, huh?
Everybody needs a day job, Diana. I have a day job. This is my day job.
Yeah, I know.
Right? Everybody needs a day job, except for a very few.
I know.
Right? Everyone needs a day job. Hopefully, one day he will not need a day job, but it's very hard to get noticed. And look how good he is. Yeah. Yeah, the goal for all of us is to not need a day job. Although I like this day job, so I'll keep this day job. But, you know, it is art related. But yeah, I think he'd love, if we could get some of these big pieces sold, he would do really well. But it's hard to find people who, you know how to, who have that kind of money, who have that kind of taste. You know, it's a challenge. It's coming, Paul. Let's see.
Looks a little like a werewolf hand, but
I think this rose up too high. So notice these are much more lined up. You brought this up too high. So this needs to come down, and look at the shape of the negative space. I want you to really look at the shape of the negative space here, right? And compare this shape to what you've got going on. But it's coming along. It's better than you thought you could do, right?
oh yeah.
That's the real thing. That's like the sort of real challenge. So Lana, don't feel distressed. You're getting there. The point of art is, as you're kind of noodling around trying to get things in the right places, you're going to move stuff a lot, and it's going to look kind of awkward until it doesn't. Diana is a great case study in this. She shows you all her stages, and she shows you as she moves things around. You just have to be comfortable with understanding that's part of the artistic process, is to move things around. I think I've said very often that like the real example of kind of amateur behavior versus pro behavior is the amateur gets about halfway through and then decides the drawing doesn't work and decides to start over, right? The pro knows that I just need to figure out how to work what I have here and correct it, because the amateur can't see beyond the initial lines that they've added, you know, that they've put in. So that's what I'm trying to encourage you guys to do. It's professional to like work with your mistakes wherever they are, right? And try and figure out sort of tweaking as you go along, rather than continually starting over till you create something perfect from start to finish. Time for the electric eraser. Thanks so much. I mean, I'm not going to say mine is perfect either. I'd rather at this point help you guys with yours. You know, there's stuff I can do to fix this, make it better, definitely. Okay, having said that, I will also admit that not everybody is going to do it the way I do it. So I get that, right? I'm not trying to say there aren't different ways to do things, but I am very interested in the quickest, most efficient results. So if that's what you want, you want to work with me. The quickest, most efficient result is what I can give you. I'm going to try and get you where you need to go faster. And now you're getting very sleepy. Lay flat out on your back. Close your eyes.
Oh man.
I know you're a trooper, Tosh. It's late for you. I'm excited to bring this class back to watercolor. I think that'll be a good shift, at least for September. We can totally change it up. I'm in serious conversations with several more companies. So it'll all depend on who joins us, right? Like where we need to add classes, where we need beginning classes, that kind of thing. This one up just a little bit. Better. So Paul, if it makes you feel better, I did bring my finger up just a little bit on this side, probably a little bit lower than what you probably went a little bit higher.
Yeah, no.
Do that too.
Yeah, it just went. I brought it down a bit, and I highlighted the edges.
Yeah, it's really getting these light and dark edges, kind of.
Yeah, totally. Yeah.
Right, and can you see how Omar did the same thing with his piece? Can you see it? How he did the same thing with his fingers. You'll see there's like parts that are light, there's parts that are light, there's parts that are dark, there's the sides. See how my finger is right now? Yeah. See how it's light on one side and dark on the other?
Yeah.
Yeah. Like that's how it is. It's just lots of tiny, it's like lots of little blocky, Lego-y kind of changes, plane changes. Notice how the shading in the hands really reinforces the direction that like the planes are going.
I'm back.
Hello.
Hello. A neighbor came over with a present for Sunny. That was nice.
What kind of present?
You don't want me to show it because then you're gonna get this out.
Right, she'll get too excited.
A squeaky toy.
Oh, she's going to love that. She's gonna love it.
Which is. No, I don't want to play now. You play yourself. Okay, I'll turn off the sound because it's going to be a lot of squeaking here. She's saying hi.
Hi, sweetie. Hi. Hello, Happy.
She is a happy dog. She is a happy dog. You're strange, you little.
Okay. Oh, coming along, Paul. Much better. Much better. So look at the curve up here. There's a slight more curve. And Paul, I'm going to show you a close-up of the thumb on this side so you can see the shift that's happening. Look at this. Look at this, that shape. How that changes. Right? Look at the dark, look at the light. And work on the so that the thumb is a little bit more narrowed in.
I just have like a straight. It just.
Yeah, look at the shape. Just look at the dark and light shapes, and you should be able to get it.
I think it's enough tonight.
Okay, so I think, Josh, in many ways, this is looking pretty good, but I think this is too, when I look at this, I think this is too narrow. And it comes down too low.
Okay.
Right? Can you see that?
Yeah.
Okay. So 1, 2, yeah. So
Is the length of the thumb right?
I think the length of the thumb is right, but I think what you haven't done is what I think is happening is this. Here, I'm going to show you with the pencil. What I think you've done is this. What I think is happening is that, right?
Okay.
And then this, which makes this too thin.
It's kind of like arms, like how I make the arms too
Wider in the, where would this would, yes, because this is like the armpit of the absolutely. So look how thick this is from here to here, right? Maybe break that up. Look at that thickness. And I think that'll help you. So I think you came down too low and then everything looked too thin. I mean, otherwise pretty good, but you know.
That's helpful. Yeah.
Also, this guy, your this shape isn't quite right. So I'm going to take a picture of it to show you the angles here. I'm going to do a close-up so you can see the kind of angles of what's happening here. I don't even have it quite right here. It's a little narrower. This is a really great lesson for learning about shapes, I think. Learning about shapes and relationships. Got about 20 minutes left.
Well, I'm gonna, like, I think I'm done, but I'm gonna start on the other one. Unless you can have some more recommendations.
Send it over. Yeah, you know, Paul, I think that's in pretty good shape. Try the other one. Okay. Good job. You look at how far this went, Paul, from your first. I'm gonna pull up your first sketch to show you how far you came from the beginning to here. And I want to really credit you for that because the beginning was like,
oh God, yeah.
Yeah, look at this. Beginning. Look at, that's your beginning. And this is here. Amazing, yeah?
Yeah.
Pat yourself on the back. Good job. So I feel like with you, Paul, what I would like you to keep in mind is that you have the capacity to attempt to focus and concentrate, but it isn't your natural instinct. you start very not really paying attention to proportions and details. So if you can click into that space, you can totally go. Like, pay attention to when you start to kind of check out. You know what I'm saying?
Well, yeah, the thing was today I was trying to find, like, scrambling, trying to find my phone, but yeah, that.
Right. So like, and when you're not, so when you're, if you can get yourself, I mean, if you look at the difference between those two pictures, that is your very first picture, that is your last picture. Like, look at how much attention to detail you got from the beginning to the end. So the sooner you can get in, the better that is for you. Right? That works out well for you. You definitely have the capacity for it. Not everybody does, but you do. I mean, most people do have some capacity, right? More than they think.
Yeah. You drive me crazy, dog. We'll find it. No.
All right, you guys, we've got about 10 minutes left. All right, you guys, send across wherever you're at. You can keep going, but just send across whatever you're working on now. I'm gonna pull off the spotlight. Take a look at you. What does, there we go. Oh, nice, Paul, getting there. Yep, yep, just keep working. You're definitely onto something. Let's see. Yes, Diana, send across your little mouthy fox. Your mouthy little fox with his mouth open.
Yeah, I'm going backwards right now, but that's okay.
He looks like angry. He's like,
yeah.
You're getting there. I can see it. Nice.
I'm thinking I should just do like the face really in focus and the rest just being blurry.
Nice. I like what you've got going on in that background. I also like the beginning of your, I like what you've got going on with the body, those loose strokes. And I also, all grays, right? All grayed colors, even though they're not all grays, they're all grayed down because that's in shadow. And I also really like what you're doing with the background. I like that beginning. So it's very nice. It's all working very lovely, beautifully today.
Thank you.
Just waiting for Tosh and Lana. Send it over, whatever you've got. I'll send you mine, my last one. This is kind of where I got to on it. We'll find it. So what did this great job, Tosh? So what did this teach you? What did you learn? I want to know something that you learned in this lesson today.
I learned that the details in the hand are much more, and the angles are much more difficult than other parts of the human body. So
let's not say difficult, let's say complex.
Okay.
There's more of them, right? And that is because there are a lot of bones in the hands. So there's bones, so we see skin, and there are skin and muscle, but like the skin is kind of stretched over the bones, so you can see more shifts happening. Right here, right here, we see less shifts. We see more sort of big muscle groups and a few bones. So anyway, I think that there's a lot more shifts. All right, Lana, definitely you got somewhere. Good. What I want you to tell yourself is, could any of you have done this before? So everybody got things that look like hands, like this particular hand with the shading. So if you're not exactly happy with everything, Tosh, what did you learn from this experience? What did you learn?
I learned that like if you don't have it right, you can go back to the block.
Yeah.
Like, the block, and then you soften, but then you can
soften, but you go back to the block to see what the block is doing. Yep, that's really, really helpful. Great. Good work, everybody. I don't know what we're going to do tomorrow. I'll decide in the morning. But Friday is our last day of watercolor boats. Saturday, it'll be charcoal drawing. So probably tomorrow, some kind of charcoal drawing. Saturday, boats. Sunday, more cityscapes and pastel landscapes, maybe another haystack. We'll see what Marie decides to do. Great work, everybody. Nice work today.
See you Friday.
That's right, Lana. You have to stand up. You did all right. And you got it better. You made it better. That's the key. It's not to fall apart when it doesn't look the way you want it to. That the big thing is to keep yourself, you know, like piece by piece, step by step going and not losing it if it doesn't turn out perfect, right? On the very first step. Like this is all about correcting. All right, you guys, we'll see you soon. Bye.